A few months ago, What Culture Horror released a video on 10 horror movies that switch villains. Now, personally, I didn't agree with some entries on this list, so here are my picks for 5 horror movies that switch villains. At the number 5 spot, we have Totally Killer. In this movie, the villain is initially established to be a serial killer known as the Sweet 16 Killer, who murdered 3 girls in 1987. Then, in the present day, the killer comes back and murders a 4th victim, which causes the protagonist to accidentally travel back in time and attempt to stop the Sweet 16 Killer. Now, the Sweet 16 Killer is stopped. However, we then find out that actually Chris Dubasage, a podcaster, was the real villain all along, and the Sweet 16 Killer was just a proxy that he was using. At the number 4 spot, we have Maxine. In this movie, the villain is initially established to be the Night Stalker in both the beginning of the film and the promotional material, even if some people thought Maxine herself would have been the Night Stalker. However, by the end of the film, we actually learn that a priest, who is also Maxine's father, is the real villain all along, and the Night Stalker actually takes a bit of a backseat. At the number 3 spot, we have the Toxic Avenger. In this movie, the villains are initially established to be a group of killers known as the Hit and Run Killers, specifically their leader Bozo. However, over the course of the film, the mayor of the town, who is secretly corrupt, ends up taking the throne from them. At the number 2 spot, we have Cobweb. In this movie, the villains are initially established to be the parents who locked the protagonist's sister in a room. However, once the parents are killed and the girl is released, you find out exactly why they did that. And she should have just stayed locked away. And at the number 1 spot, we have Abigail. In this movie, the villain is initially established to be the titular Abigail, who is a little girl that gets kidnapped by a gang of criminals and then turns out to be a vampire. However, later, one of the kidnappers, Frank, turns into a vampire and attempts to kill both Abigail and protagonist Joey, so the two team up to stop him.